friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before. I'm Erin, and for today's Vlogmas video, we are going to be doing another Mandela effect video. Now, I've already done 2 other Mandela effect videos, and I will have them linked in the description down below if you want to check them out. This will certainly not be my last Mandela effect video. There are a ton of them out there, and people seem to be really interested in them. I know I am, thus why I keep making more Mandela effect videos. So if you want to be sure to see those new videos, make sure you subscribe. Also, since this is Vlogmas, just so you know, I will be doing videos every day from December 1st until December 25th, so that's 25 videos in a row. A little crazy, but hey, it's fun. Anyway, so if you don't know what a Mandela effect is, it is a collective misremembering of a fact or an event. So if you don't know where Mandela effects got their name from, it is actually from Nelson Mandela. So a lot of people believe that Nelson Mandela died in prison when he was imprisoned in South Africa. Nope, he actually died a free man. So that is where Mandela effects got their name from. So let's dive on into this with these Mandela effects. So the first one has to do with something near and dear to my heart, which is Disney. Love all things Disney. So when I read about this, I didn't really think about it until I read about it, and I was like, eh. So it has to do with the intro to Disney movies, either on VHS or DVD. So a lot of people remember Tinkerbell writing out the word Disney and then dotting the I with her little fairy wand thing. Some people remember this being all done on a blue and white background, and that Tinkerbell was not colored in, that she also was like white, but you could tell it was Tinkerbell by her outline. Now, I'm one of these people that remembers it that way, that she wrote out Disney and dotted the I with her wand. However, guess what? Tinkerbell never did that. She never wrote out Disney. She has never dotted the I in Disney with her wand. Now, some other people also remember her like flying around, not necessarily writing out Disney, but tapping her wand on the top of the castle, and then there being like a shower of sparks or fairy dust. And I kind of remember that as well too. But guess what? That never happened either. This is what apparently the Disney intro has always been. So the next 2 Mandela effects also have to do with Disney. So the first one has to do with the movie Bambi. And when I read about this, I thought for sure that what I thought was correct, but apparently it's not. Big surprise there. So apparently, a lot of people, such as myself, remember Bambi's mom being killed in this movie very early on in the movie. I could have sworn it was like within the first 15 minutes of the movie. Now granted, I have not watched Bambi in a very, very long time, so maybe that's why I don't remember it correctly. However, Bambi's mom does not die early in the movie at all. She actually dies 41 minutes into this movie, and the movie is 1 hour and 10 minutes long. So that is more than halfway through the movie. Like I said, I didn't remember it that way, but that could just be because I haven't seen it in forever. Now, there are some other theories as to why people may remember it this way too, and that is that with Disney movies, they tend to kill off or mention a character being dead pretty early on in their movies. So think of movies like Up, where they go through the whole story of Ellie and Carl, and Ellie dies pretty fairly early on in the movie. Think of Frozen. Elsa and Anna's parents, they died pretty early on in that movie. In Tarzan, Tarzan's parents, they die early on in the movie. In The Lion King, Mufasa is killed off pretty early. So it's just, I mean, obviously that could be a whole different video about how Disney tends to kill off a parent or a loved one in their movies, but it tends to happen earlier in the movie, which is probably why a lot of people, such as myself, remember that Bambi's mom died fairly early on into the movie. Now, I was always under the impression that she is shot and killed and Bambi is kind of wandering around the woods, and that's when he meets Thumper and Flower and blah blah blah. But apparently that's not the case. I guess Bambi's, this is how long it's been since I've seen this movie. Apparently Bambi's mom like shows him through the forest and all this good stuff, and she doesn't actually die until after they go through the winter. So yeah, she dies later on in the movie. Real great topic to talk about, I know, but it was just something that I was like, wow, I thought it was in the beginning of the movie. So the next one has to do with the mouse himself, good old Mickey Mouse. So ask yourself, does Mickey Mouse have suspenders? Now this one I was kind of on the fence about. I feel like yes, there are certain aspects where I do remember Mickey Mouse having suspenders, but apparently Mickey's never had suspenders. So one of the reasons that I felt like Mickey could potentially have had suspenders at some point is because I remember in Steamboat Willie when he's like, you know, dancing and directing his ship, that at one point he's whistling and he's dancing and he snaps his suspenders and then he goes back to driving the boat. And I am not the only one who remembers this because I've read about it. That never happened. There are no suspenders in Steamboat Willie. Let that sink in for a while if you know what Steamboat Willie is. However, that being said, there are plenty of toys and other merchandise that do depict Mickey with suspenders, and I will show some pictures here. Now, that being said, it could be like I have talked about Pikachu before and how people are convinced that there's a black tip on the end of Pikachu's tail, and there's not. So a lot of companies, if they are selling unlicensed merch, so like dupes of Mickey, or any other character for that matter, they'll make like a slight change so they can say, oh no, this is not Mickey, this is Mackie. So that could be why some toys and things depict Mickey having suspenders when in fact he doesn't. There are also plenty of Halloween costumes who depict Mickey having red suspenders and he doesn't. So apparently Mickey didn't have a problem keeping up his pants, so he didn't need any suspenders. Keeping up with our cartoon character theme, and speaking of tails, let's talk about Snoopy's tail. How do you remember Snoopy's tail? Now this one didn't really throw me off, but apparently I was reading and other people feel this way. A lot of people think that Snoopy had a thin black tail. Now I don't ever remember it being that way. I've always remembered Snoopy having a white tail, and sometimes he has a black spot on his tail, so I will show you pictures, of course, of Mr. Snoopy and his tail. But apparently some people remember him having a long, thin black tail. So which one did you think? Did you think that Snoopy had a black tail or a white tail? And again, this could be going back to unlicensed merchandise that has been out where they did have Snoopy have a black tail, so they could be like, no, this isn't Snoopy, it's Snappy. I know, I'm real creative with these alternate names. So apparently this next one is pretty controversial to the point where people have reached out to Fruit of the Loom to ask them themselves whether or not this is true or not. A lot of people remember the Fruit of the Loom logo having a cornucopia on it. Well folks, apparently there was never a cornucopia. Throw me into the mix of people who thought that there was a cornucopia at some point in their logo, but no, I guess it's always just been a pile of fruit. Apparently, we were all just living in an alternate reality where there was a cornucopia and now there's not, and Fruit of the Loom says that there never was, so go figure. So speaking of cornucopias, The next Mandela effect has to do with the good old holiday tradition of Thanksgiving. Now this one I also knew, but apparently other people have disagreed. A lot of people feel that Thanksgiving happens on the third Thursday of November. Not true. Thanksgiving has always taken place on the fourth Thursday of November since 1941. Now, you may be thinking, well, there was a Thursday after Thanksgiving this year, and you're absolutely right, there was. But it was still the fourth Thursday of the month. The first happened to also land on a Thursday, so there were 5 Thursdays in November this year. And last but certainly not least, this is the Mandela effect that I researched this time that kind of blew my mind. And it has to do with one of my favorite shows, which is Judge Judy. So we all know that Judge Judy loses her patience an awful lot. So you would think that she's like slamming down the gavel, right? Because that's what judges do. Guess what? Apparently, Judge Judy has never used a gavel, ever. She's used a pen to like tap on her, I almost said pulpit, but that's not correct. I don't know what you call it where a judge sits. It's not a pulpit, but like the area where a judge sits. She taps her pen and papers and hands and stuff on there, but she does not have a gavel. Now they do make gavel noises in the show, but she doesn't have one. And honestly, a lot of judges don't have a gavel. Not anymore. So yeah, there's that. And I could have sworn there were like, you know, the little GIFs that are out there, but the GIF that I'm thinking of, it's not actually Judge Judy. It's Judge Rudy. So that maybe I'm just confusing that. I don't know. But that is it for this video, guys. If you liked it, go ahead and give me a big old thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this. And again, I am doing a video every day for the first 25 days of December. So make sure you subscribe so you can see all 25 of those videos. Alright guys, I will catch you next time. Bye!